think Mark has had enough. This episode of Invincible dropped a couple days ago, and I honestly think that it's time to give Mark a break. But let's talk about it. And spoilers if you aren't up to date with Invincible. I love that Aaron Paul will perpetually be a crash out. There's just something about his voice whining that always plays well. The story was definitely tragic, and I love seeing repercussions, particularly from season 1. Because I talk shit about Nolan all the time because of that day in Chicago. I just really wish this lesson was given to Nolan and not Mark. He was already holding that trauma. He didn't need to learn the lesson about how much this pained other people. Lessons that we saw, like with him having to kill the immortal and things like that, yes, that made sense. This storyline is the beginning of a bunch of storylines where Mark is punished. The point where I'm like, what did Mark do to Robert Kirkman? And I get it. A lot of it is for plot development, and I'm here for it. It's easy for Mark's story to edge into trauma porn. And I'm hoping that they lighten some of it up or space it out. I'm gonna be honest, it was a lot to read. Speaking of reading, I pray to God that they change Amber's storyline. Already changed so much about Amber's story. Just like Amber, they race bet her new boyfriend. I just hope they keep them happy and together and they let this poor girl move on. Fandom hates her enough already. Honestly, I can't put on the cape for her too much longer. It's so hard. Debbie telling her little boyfriend their secret, I think is a little wild. It's clear that both Mark and Oliver resent him because of it. I'm interested to see where that plot line goes because this is not in the comic books. Let's talk about the army of Mark, because it's honestly one of the coolest fights for me, and it helps Mark and the audience gain a lot of insight into his character. What would he be like if circumstances were different? It also reiterates what Cecil was saying. Beyond that, I cannot stress enough how much cooler things are in the comic books, particularly long hair Mark. Look at him. This I can't even really blame on the animation. I think the style in general is just a lot more simpler. How can you compare with Ryan Otley? You know what I'm saying? That being said, we are in for a treat. Always happy to hear Sterling K. Brown. Mark is gonna learn a lesson. This episode was good. I enjoyed it. But they definitely had better episodes this season. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this episode 4 out of 5 Frankie Flames.